Hey, welcome back to the Crabby Dice. Today we're going to be looking at Azul Summer Pavilion, which is not an expansion to Azul, but a standalone game. It's probably a game everyone knows how to play already, but you know what? If you don't know how to play, follow along. This is going to be the rules and setup video. Follow the links below for the playthrough and my thoughts on the game. Let's make it a quick one. Before we start, please like, subscribe, and comment on my videos. That'll be great. Let's get started. Alright, the setup. Let's start with the scoring board here. Lay it out, take 10 tokens from the bag and fill out on all the spaces here. Put the round tracker on round 1 and put everyone's point scoring marker on the 5 space. Okay. Now these tiles are called factories. You want to sort of put them in a circle, but to save space I'm condensing it here. And you're going to use 2 times the number of players plus 1. So in a 2-player game you put out 5, 3 is 7, and 4 is 9. Again, you're going to take 4 tiles from the bag and place 4 on each of the factory tiles. Alright, put the number 1 tile right in the middle here. The first player is going to be the youngest player at the table, and give each player one of these boards. I would suggest play with the colored side and not the variant side for your first game. And there you go. You're ready to go. Let's look at the rules. Alright, so the rules at a high level. What are we doing in Azul? So just like every other Azul game ever made, if you've never played, it's essentially a gigantic set collection game, right? So we're going to be trying to collect the sets of colors from the factories in the middle and try to put them on our board to score points. Alright, so that's basically what we're going to be doing. This game in particular is going to last exactly 6 rounds. And what this game introduces that the other Azuls don't have is a wild color. So in this one, the actual round, the marker above it will tell you which color is wild for that round. So just like you would imagine, that color could represent any color when doing placement and also for grabbing. We'll see that during the phase 1 and phase 2 explanations. Alright, after those 6 rounds you're going to score. I'm going to have a link below for the scoring section at the end, but we're going to score our patterns here, and there's actual scoring over here. And also during phase 2 there's actual ways to score, but again I'll explain that later on in the video. Alright, so every single round there's 3 phases to the game. You have your collection phase where you're going to be collecting tiles, then there's the placement phase where you're going to be placing them on your board in turn order, and then finally a reset phase where we're just going to be refilling the tiles and doing some extra stuff. Okay, so let me explain to you all those 3 phases in a lot of detail starting now. Alright, phase 1 is the collection phase where we're going to be looking at the factories over here to collect our tiles. Alright, so in player order you're each going to have a turn collecting tiles. If you've never played an Azul game before, it works the same way. You're going to pick either factory or the middle space, and you're going to take all the same colored tiles from that region. Alright, so let's focus in on this factory right over here. So I have a couple of options. I can either take the 1 green, or more, probably a better move would be to take the 3 orange. Alright, when you take from a factory and not the middle space, any tile that was remaining on the factory get pushed into the middle. That's sort of a way that the middle gets populated, and eventually somebody's going to grab from the middle because it'll be lucrative enough for him. Alright. Now, the added wrinkle that this game does compared to the other Azuls is that there is a wild every single round. Okay, so for the first round the game is going to be purple. What that means is that if you take tiles from a region and there's a wild present, whether there's 1, 2, 5, 6 wild, you're always going to take 1 wild with you. Alright, so for example, let's focus on this factory over here. So if I took these 2 yellows, I would also take 1 of the purples. Alright, the other purple will go into the middle. Same thing up here. If I took from this factory over here, I would either take 2 blue and a purple, or 1 green and 1 purple. The other tiles will go into the middle. Alright, some additional rules you need to know is that if you're the first person to take from the middle, you're also going to grab this first player tile. This means that you're going to be first player in phase 2 and also first player the following turn when grabbing tiles. Okay, you're going to keep this tile next to you until we need to refill. Okay, you're also going to lose points equal to the amount of tiles you grabbed when you took this tile. Alright, so if you took 4 tiles in total when you took this, you lose 4 points on the track. Now, there's also another rule that's very, very important. The wild tile is not a color you can grab totally. Alright, so that means like if you focus on this factory over here, I can't grab these 2 purples as my collection that I want to gather. Alright, the wild is either 1 or an additional 1 if you're taking a different color. So for example, if there were 4 wilds in the middle and you want to grab a wild from the middle here, you would only be able to take 1. All right, it's very important. You can't just take all 4 wild. When you're taking wild, it's only ever 1. And there you go. Those are all the rules for gathering. You're going to keep doing that around the table, each taking a turn gathering. Tiles are going to be going in the middle. Somebody will eventually take first player, taking tiles, taking tiles. When all the tiles finally run out, that's the end of the phase. You're going to go on to phase 2, which is the placement phase. Alright, so for the placement phase, phase 2, you're going to focus in on your player boards here. And what you're going to be doing is using the tiles you've collected, so in this example, let's say I collected these, to place on your board. Alright, so what you got to keep track of is the color and the numbers. So you're going to see around every color there's also numbers. So orange, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what that represents is you need to turn in that many of that color to place a tile there. Example, I can turn in these 3 orange, toss these 2 into the bin, and now place this token on the 3 orange spot here. Alright, going forward, it's obvious once you cover up a spot, you can't cover up that spot again. Alright, so in the future I can't turn in a 3 orange again because I've already covered it up. Alright, and as we've seen from the previous sections, there's a wild, so you can use your purples as wild. So I can turn in 3 orange or 4 orange or 5 orange, right? So I can turn in all these 5 to put one of them on the 5 orange. Alright, some very important rules. You can't simulate only wild to represent a different color. You must actually turn in at least one of another color to represent that color. For example, I would need to at least turn in 1 orange and 2 wilds here to place on the 3 orange. Alright, but you're flexible. You can have here 1 orange and 1 wild to place on the 2, and then here 2 orange and 1 wild to place on the 3. So I would end up with these 2 tiles on the board, or I could have turned them all in to put on the 5. Alright, so do as you wish. Alright, just some added notes here. You could turn in all the wilds to represent that color, right? So if you don't represent them with another color, you can actually play it on the 2 purple, for example, if I turn in 2 purples. Alright, I'm also going to mention it now. You don't have to place all your tiles on your pavilion every single round. You do have spots around your board to carry over 4 tiles into the following round, but any tile that don't fit in those 4, you're going to end up losing points because you're going to chuck them back into the box, and you're going to lose 1 point for every single tile that you've done that with. All right, that might happen near the end of the game. Okay, so in addition to placing, you're also going to do 2 things. You're going to check for scoring, and you're going to check for the symbol completion. All right, let's talk about scoring. How scoring works is you're going to score a point for that tile and every other connected tile of the same color. So again, we're going to focus in on orange. Let's say this is the first tile that I placed on the board. I'll get 1 point on the point track. All right. If this was the second tile that I placed, I'll get 2 points. 1 point for the tile itself and 1 point because you placed it next to another orange. All right. Again, if I'll place another orange here, I'll get 3 points. 1 for itself and 1 for the other 2 connected in that chain. All right. If I'll play another orange and then place it here, that would only score me 1 point because it's not connected to any other orange. But if I placed it here instead, it would score me 4 points. And that's how the placement works. All the colors work exactly the same way, including the middle. Okay. Now, after scoring, you're going to check for the symbols like I mentioned. So if you cover up all the regions around a symbol, so you got pillars, statues, and fountains, so the 3 types, you're also going to collect tiles from the middle here. All right, you collect them right away and you can use them in a set for that turn, or carry them over for the following turn. All right, when you've done all your placement, you're going to refill the middle section here for the following player. All right, so that's, I forgot to mention at the beginning of this phase, but you do it in player order. So one player is going to place all this stuff in here, including getting tiles from the middle, finish up, it'll go to the next player. When you've all done the placement step, then that's the end of phase 2. All right, then we're going to do the reset phase, which is next. All right, phase 3 is the reset phase. So you're going to do exactly 4 things and follow these steps. All right, so first thing, you're going to move the turn marker to the next one. All right, that's going to display the new wild tile for this turn. Second thing you're going to do is refill all the factories with 4 tiles each. Take it from the bag. Usually the first player does it. Just fill it all up. Third thing you're going to do is replace the first player marker in the middle section here. And the fourth thing you're going to do is anyone who's carried over any tiles into the following round, take all these tiles and put them beside your board so that now the future tiles that you get in the next round are added to that pack of tiles. Alright, that's it. So let's go to scoring. Alright, and finally in the 6th round, instead of doing phase 3, you're going to go straight to game end scoring. Alright, you're going to look at 3 things. Alright, so at the right hand side of the chart here, for any completed stars you have on your board, you're going to score the indicated number of points. So for example, if you finish the orange section here, you're going to score 17 points. If you did all the yellow section over here, you're going to score 16 points, and so on and so on. If you did the middle section here, it's 12 points. Alright. Second thing you're going to look at is down here in the bottom right. If you completed all the ones, including the middle, on your board, you're going to get 4 points, so on and so on. If you completed all the 4s, so there's 7 of them, you're going to score 16 points. And finally, if you do have any tiles left over at the end in your corner, you're going to lose 1 point for each of those tiles, toss them back in the bin, and then there you go. That's your final score compared to the other players. Whoever has the most has won the game. Those are all the rules to Azul. Hope you enjoyed it. Click on the link below for the playthrough and my thoughts of the game. See you in the next one.